I'm just going to verify that I am properly feeding out to the masses. And yes, it does look like I am. So I'm going to give you, I'm not going to make you hang on for the story. The story is the verdict: Trump is convicted as a felon, but given an unconditional discharge. So, what does that mean? What that means is, let me explain unconditional discharge. That means, hey, have a nice day. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. That's what that means. That means, so where's the hamster? Actually, it's like 50 degrees out. One of the hamsters is laying outside in the sun next to a hole she dug in my yard. So unconditional discharge means you're a convict, you're a convicted felon, but we're not going to do anything about it. So the crazy, like the extent of the crazy. Now, mind you, there's a couple of first. All right, so let's go to the court case. Millions of dollars were spent on security. Millions of dollars were spent on lawyers for this. And the end result is he's guilty of 34 felonies, and there's no penalty, no fine, no community service, no probation, no nothing. But me, as a petulant little judge, want to make sure that you're a convicted felon going into the White House, so everybody can say the convicted felon president. The um now this is, I don't know if I should go so technical on this. There's actually, I mean, there's a bunch of ways a case can be remedied. And, one, the judge didn't have to sentence him before the inauguration, but he did because he's a petulant little imp. Two, he could have given him an ACOD, which is acquittal on contemplation of discharge, but then he wouldn't be a convicted felon. Three, they could have given him a fine. Four, they could have given him jail time. They could have given him community service. They could have given him time served. There's a bunch of things they could have done. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Donald Trump doesn't keep his own books, but they convicted him of 34, well, that's four, 34 felonies. Now, bookkeeping errors are not a felony. And the way they got there is they say this was in furtherance of a federal crime, but they didn't name the crime and he wasn't convicted of a federal crime. So, to get, and once this case gets out of New York courts, and I mean, God forbid it goes to an appellate court in D.C., but this might go to the Supreme Court. This is, once you get out of the crazy courts, as in don't put your junk in crazy. Unfortunately, Trump grew up in New York, created his business in New York. So if you're just tuning in, Trump is convicted and released unconditionally, unconditionally discharged. Uh, all right, so Dark says they're trying to get people to rise up and demand he be held to account. So you're saying they want riots on January 20th on the inauguration, like the deadly J6 riots, where 6 police officers were murdered senselessly. Didn't happen. So, oh boy, if I was slightly smarter, I would have green screened Trump's mugshot behind me, and I didn't. But so Trump is now a convicted felon of 34 felonies of bookkeeping errors. Now, so the key elements of this case is I don't know how, were there 34 payments? I don't know how it became 34 felonies, but anyhow, it's the same charge 34 times copied and pasted. It was a bookkeeping error, and typically, anytime this type of case has been prosecuted in the past, it's been with a fine. The penalty is a fine. Now, the interesting thing is, so they're saying it's in furtherance of a crime, and the crime was like election interference, stealing the election. But believe it or not, if these records were, as they say, in bookkeeping errors and weren't reported properly, they would have been required to be reported in January after the election. So it would have had no interference on the election. Now, the same thing. Oh gosh, who was the good-looking VP, and he was running for president? Or damn, they called him the Breck girl. He had really good hair, and he paid off a mistress that had a child to be quiet. I think his um, donors paid her off, and they declared even that was not a reportable instance, and they threw that case out. So this is another famous, I believe it's Jack Smith case where they're just trying to nail somebody. Uh, John Richards? No, it's I don't think that's the right name. Well, I don't think that's the right name. It's something like that. So Trump has been unconditionally discharged. So we spent millions of dollars on security, millions of dollars on lawyers, effed up everybody's life in New York City by shutting down all the roads. And oh, by the way, what do we got to do? Not a thing. Not a thing. We're just gonna label you a felon. I Does this not say, with screaming it from the rooftops any louder? We were just doing this to f with you and soil you up and make you lose an election. Like, this is the proof that this case was purely election interference. That's I mean, this is as bad as the mayor of Los Angeles, like, not reacting and not giving any commentary on, like, hey, I just came back from the coronation of the new royalty in Mumbai, or wherever the hell she was in Africa. And how do you feel about your city burning? Do you have anything to say to the people of your city while it's burning? This is the same crap. This is exactly the same crap that uh, what says you're guilty without saying you're guilty. That's Judge Marchand should be thrown in jail. He's guilty of election interference, and the mayor of Los Angeles, she should be thrown in jail because she's stupid. She's criminally negligently stupid. Uh, Boy, that's not real Christian of me. But if the foo, I was gonna say if the foo, see, I'm trying not to say bad words, but the story is Trump is guilty of 34 felonies. He is now a convicted felon, and he's unconditionally discharged. Have a nice day. Be president. Enjoy. Wow. Well, wait. He can't pardon himself because this is a New York court. He can only pardon himself or others from federal offenses. Which, is that a way to go after Hunter Biden? Because maybe there's non-federal crimes he committed that he could be gone after. Anyhow, so that's what's going on in the world as 2025 kicks off. So I don't know who had this on their bingo card. LA burning. Trump unconditionally discharged. I don't know when the aliens are going to land in New Jersey. But with all of that, you guys have an excellent Friday, an excellent weekend. I will see you later.